Press this button to have your dream life. My younger self wished it was this easy to go from our dull, boring life to achieving our dreams. But over the last few years, I experienced what I believe is the reality of success, and sometimes I like to remind myself of the lessons and values that I learned. So if I were to somehow start my journey all over again, the first step that I would take would be to identify a single goal. Of course, everyone's journey is going to be different, but no matter what lies ahead, you have to decide on one thing to focus on and work towards. Think of your life as a building. We all want to be towering skyscrapers, but you cannot start constructing until you have an actual blueprint or a goal. At the time I was on this first step, 15-year-old me had always wanted 1 million subscribers on YouTube, despite people always telling me it was luck or it was unrealistic. It was just the one thing that I was actually passionate about. I had already made some videos throughout the years and idolized some creators, but to begin with, becoming a YouTuber was completely a dream and I had no idea how to make it happen yet. It's important that whatever this dream you're deciding to work towards is something you're actually passionate about or just anything that interests you. If you want to be a YouTuber, if you want to be an astronaut, make that your goal and prepare to obsess over it. Sometimes it may seem like a daunting task, but for me, working towards this goal and what I truly want was about to provide me with more purpose than I had ever had in my life. At the time, I was overthinking this so much, if it was a good idea or if I wanted it 5 years down the line, which I think is something a lot of people may experience. But I always like to remember that overthinking things is usually almost always just an excuse not to do something or to procrastinate. Remember, this blueprint is a blueprint. Your interests may change later on, but that isn't an excuse to not start developing experience now. I like to visualize life like dominoes, and nothing is going to change unless if you take that first step forward. For me, once I had my eyes set on 1 million subscribers, I finally had something to work towards and actually drive me. There's still one problem though. Out of all the humans on Earth, I gamed the most. I had the worst living habits out of any human being on Earth, which I would learn to fix with this next step. To put it short, my sleep schedule was awful. I was constantly playing video games. I could go on, and at the time I didn't realize it, but 50% of success in living a fulfilling life is your habits and lifestyle. Bringing it back to the building analogy, while you may have a blueprint, you cannot just start throwing floors on top of one of each other because you have to have an actual foundation to work from first. Without this, you're just a feather in the wind and can be knocked down despite maybe having been made some progress because you never developed healthy habits for longevity. Realizing this at 16, I tried self-improvement, just working out, locking down my sleep schedule, just basic investments into my health that give me a foundation to work from. Self-improvement is huge, and I mean big, because at the end of the day, you're going to achieve your dreams by getting good at providing some sort of value. For example, a skill I needed to know to be a YouTuber was how to edit. But how are you going to fully improve those skills if you can't even improve your own self-being? The difficult part about this is that some days it's really challenging to keep your health in check, which is why you always have to try to stay on top of it. After all, it's easier to be depressed than it is to be happy. Results were definitely slow for me, but after doing all of these things, I started to just feel so much better about myself and confidence. And the best part about this foundation is that shit might hit the fan with your main goal. You might not get accepted into medical school or things are just moving slow, but a healthy mindset and body is something that life can rarely take away. After coming up with a goal and building a real foundation to work off of, it would be at this point where I'd take the first step of action towards my dream of 1 million subscribers. I stopped overcomplicating things, and in the free time 16-year-old me had, I just went and made YouTube videos. Whatever goal or dream life you want, it's only going to be achieved by getting experience, and the best way to do that is to just go out and learn. As I was continuously posting YouTube videos, none of them were getting views, and I mean, it was dry out there. But I had to keep remembering that my time wasn't going to waste, and that learning something is always more valuable than some temporary results. This is, of course, in my opinion, the longest and hardest part of the process, which is building the actual building. It's easy to say you'll do things or you'll prepare for things, but the difference between you actually achieving that dream or not is whether or not you actually stick to it. If you want to be on Wall Street and have no money, go trade paper stocks. If you want to be an astronaut, go take a physics class. Basically, just obsess over that dream you want so badly and get better every single day. Everything in life is a skill, and while I think it may be beneficial to join a course like the War Room, on second thoughts, any type of course just frails in comparison to actually getting out there and getting experience. Of course, it doesn't sound as easy, but it's the only way to do it. Remember, things will not come together right away. I posted YouTube videos for 6 months, and on the 7th month, I finally hit 100 subscribers. But looking at month 1 versus that 7 month, my videos were getting so much better. Sometimes the progress you're making might not seem like much at first, but if you keep showing up and getting those reps in, you will make something happen. happen. After applying and learning these 3 steps, I had finally got my YouTube channel some momentum, and looking back on it now, I would have gone through this exact process again. But no matter what your goal is, how much you bench, or how many books you've read, you're not going to consistently achieve your dreams in the long term unless if you have the right mindsets. Despite now finally making progress towards my initial dream of 1 million subscribers, there were still some days where I take a massive L. I'm talking months of working on a single Minecraft video, spending tens of thousands of dollars on it, and then making none of it back, and that's not even a joke. No matter where you are in your journey, you're going to experience shit moments like these that just make you want to give it all up. For me, looking at these losses and failures from the wrong perspective would always destroy my momentum. But at one point, I realized there are 2 options to choose from when you experience failure on the way to your dreams. You can either react to it poorly and let the past control you, or you can adopt the mindset of looking at challenges or hard times as an opportunity to get better and closer to your dreams. Everyone has different things that make them happy, but I think we can all agree that when you actually do get something that was difficult and you persevere through, the feeling is like crack, but it's not bad for you. It's made you better. Even today, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to make this video because I thought if it didn't do well, I just look like an idiot, but I knew, hey, if it ends up flopping, it flops. At the end of the day, I would learn something. It might suck, but I'm going to be better afterwards. That's the beauty about having a growth mindset. You could feel like you know absolutely nothing about something or feel like you're so far behind, but if you have this growth mindset to rely on, it'll drive you to push through any failure you've had or rut you're experiencing. Another value that really helped me push through failures on my dream towards 1 million subscribers was realizing that things always seem worse than they actually are. This is another mindset I developed once I started having a lot more stuff on my plate, or at least I thought I had a lot on my plates because I was overthinking everything. For example, one time it was tax season, and this year I actually decided to pay them, and I also had to make a bunch of thumbnails, I had to make a bunch of videos, do some back-end stuff, all of this stuff that was just clouding my mind and preventing me from being productive. But it wasn't the stuff that was making me less productive, it was just the idea of how much stuff there was. So one day I decided, you know what, I'm gonna spend a small amount of time just knocking each thing out, and before you know it, I was done by like 12 p.m. Even back in high school, I just get flooded with homework, and because I didn't know how to manage it properly, I'd punch holes in my wall. Does anybody else do that? Of course, I didn't know this strategy back then, but I think we can all agree that humans just have the tendency to let their emotions cloud over the reality of what something actually is. Because at face value, something might seem overwhelming, but if you spend less time overthinking it and just doing it, even if it's a lot of work, you'll get it done before you know it and be like, damn, what was I just freaking out for? From what I've learned throughout the years, these are the exact steps and values that I use to eventually achieve my dream of 1 million subscribers. And I personally believe doing them will open up opportunities for anyone. But here's the thing, throughout a lot of these steps, I talk about how frustrating and hard the process can get, so why would anyone want to do this? Well, to me, once I truly start to care about something like YouTube, the idea of 1 million subscribers doesn't mean as much to me now. It's the journey I took to get there. I started to embrace the hardships and struggles that I had to go through to achieve the goals I've always wanted. I said this earlier, but I truly believe that it's easier to be depressed than it is to be happy. If you go through failures, trial, and learning to achieve a dream that you've always had, you'll end up way more content and happy than you've ever been before.